Hi guys, it's Emily, and today I'm here to bring you another tag. This is the I Never tag, which was created by Elizabeth from Lizzie Faye Books, and then I was tagged by her also in her original video. So let's just get right into it. Prompt number 1 is, I never read that. Name a book that you've never read that everyone else has. And this could be a lot of books because, I don't really read that much YA, and I feel like a lot of people on BookTube do. But the one that immediately came to my mind was Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which has been all over BookTube lately. I've watched several reviews of it, and, I wasn't really interested in reading it before the reviews, and now after the reviews, I really don't think I'm ever going to read it, Maybe sometime, a long time in the future, but not right now. It's really sad because I love Harry Potter and it was a huge part of my childhood, but the play just doesn't sound like something I would enjoy, and I'm afraid it would negatively impact my view of the characters, so I'm just going to give that a hard pass, which is unfortunate, but there you go. Number 2 is, I never read anything so awesome. Name your favorite book. And for this prompt, I chose The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry by Rachel Joyce. I recently reread this, and y'all know I gushed about it in my September wrap-up. And so, or I guess it was October part 1. But yeah, I just love this book, and I think it's so adorable. And I think it just tells you a lot about human nature, and I highly recommend it. This is, if you want to hear me gush about it, I'll link my October wrap-up down below, but suffice to say, I think this is my favorite book right now. The next prompt is, number 3 is, I never thought I would get through it. Name a book that you didn't like but powered through it anyway. And for this one, I chose The Goldfinch, which I listened to on audio, so it wasn't as bad as if I would have listened to it if I had read this huge chunk of it. But I don't know, I listened to all of these book pages, and then I didn't feel like I got anything out of it per se. It wasn't justified, the length wasn't justified, and everybody in this book is pretty much has no morals, and I don't know. I know so many people love this book, but to me it just wasn't worth the effort, and it wasn't worth the hype at all. But I'm glad I finished it because now I can be hoity-toity when people talk about it. But that's the only reason why you should read it, just if you want to be aware of why people are talking about it. But it wasn't worth it for me. Sad to say. Number 4 is, I will never finish that. Name a book or a series that you don't plan on finishing. And for this prompt, I'm going to pick the Phryne Fisher series. I read the first book, Cocaine Blues, earlier in the year, and I really enjoyed it. It's just there's so many books in the series, and the fact that I've already watched the TV show makes me not inclined to read the whole series. I might pick up a few here and there if I ever was bored or didn't know anything to read, but I'm not going to make it an active priority to finish. I know a lot of people love them, and I'm sure I would love them, and I adore the TV show, but I'm just not planning on doing any more reading of the books. Number 5 is, never regret reading that. Name a book you read solely on a recommendation that you ended up really liking. And the book that first came to mind for me is The Midnight Watch. I read that earlier this year, and it was based on a recommendation by Jenny King. And I'm not really into reading things solely because a BookTube person recommends it, but I've sort of been getting more into that recently. I've read 3 or 4 books recently that solely I read them because of recommendation. But The Midnight Watch is a fascinating book about what happened on the Californian the night the Titanic sunk. The Californian was the boat that was closest to the Titanic, and yet they didn't come. And so, it's always been sort of a mystery, and this is a fiction retelling of like what might have happened on that night, and I found it really great, and I really enjoyed the book, and I'm glad that I picked it up. Jenny's review, I'll link it down below. It's a really great review, and it makes you really fascinated on what is going on in the book and why you should read it. So yeah, I really enjoyed that book. Number 6 is I Would Never Do That. Name a relatable book character who made choices you didn't agree with, or did things that you would never do. And for this book, I'm going to pick Iris from Brooklyn. Iris Lacey. She's an Irish girl who goes to America to work, and she meets an Italian boy, Tony, and she decides she's going to get married without telling anyone. And she doesn't really tell anyone because she's afraid of what her mother will think and what her family and friends back home will think. And it's just really, I didn't really understand it because, she's in America and she's independent now. And, it doesn't make sense that she would get married without anybody there. But, she lives far away and boat travel's not very quick and they don't have money and she doesn't have money. And so it just really bothered me that she would never tell her family that she was married until the very end of the book. And then when she goes home to Ireland because of a family emergency, she sort of leads on this other guy, this Irish guy, and people start thinking she's gonna leave, like not go back to America and marry him, and she never sets them straight, and it seems very disloyal to her husband for her to never say like, hey, I'm married, or hey, I'm not interested in staying in Ireland. I've got a life back home and I got things I gotta go back and do. So yeah, that just really bothered me that she would not, come clean about her marriage and that she would not, let this guy know that, hey, she's not available. Number 7 is I never wanted to admit it. Name a book that you were embarrassed to say you read or were embarrassed to carry around with you. Now, for this, I picked Match Me If You Can by Susan Elizabeth Phillips. And I'm not as embarrassed to say that I read it, but I'm embarrassed because I've read it multiple times when I was in high school. And I did a reread of it on audio earlier in the year. And I was just like, it seemed very childish and juvenile, and there were some things that I didn't really agree with in there. And I felt kind of embarrassed that I considered it one of my favorite books in high school. This is the story of a matchmaker named Annabelle and then her client Heath, and they fall in love. And it's a really cute romance, but it was written in the early 2000s, and there's some things that aren't very politically correct in here. And so now I hesitate to recommend it to people because I feel like it's sort of outdated and it didn't age well. But I did really enjoy this book when I was a young adult, but not so much anymore. So yeah, I'm kind of a little embarrassed to say that I really loved it when I was in high school. The next book is I never read anything so heartwarming. Name a book or series that really touched your heart. And for this book, I picked the Mitford series by Jan Karan. This is a series that I read when I was in middle school, early high school, and it's about the citizens of Mitford, and it's specifically about Father Tim, the priest of the parish, and it's just so sweet, they have a typical small town life, and it's little small town dramas, and it's just really sweet, and Christian book series are sort of hard to come by, and yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and I would highly recommend it if you're interested in finding a good Christian book series that will make you feel better and will give you the warm fuzzies. And yeah, it's just such a cute book, and Father Tim and Cynthia are such a sweet couple, and yeah, I really feel like I need to reread this sometime soon because it just gives me all the joy. Yep. Number 9 is I Never Laughed So Hard, and name a book that made you laugh out loud. And for this book, I'm going to pick 12 Sharp, which is a Stephanie Plum novel by Jana Ivanovich. And I read this recently, and had to laugh because Stephanie and her co-workers do some pretty silly things to catch their blonde people, and are so dumb sometimes. And that book was only okay, but there were some laugh out loud moments in it. You just have to love something that can make you laugh. And number 10 is I could have never made it through childhood without it. Name a favorite childhood book or book series. And of course, I have to go with Anne of Green Gables, and I picked up Anne of Ingleside just because I really love this cover. The red-haired and the flowers and the two kids. And if you haven't read Anne of Green Gables, what are you doing with your life? Like, come on. Anne Shirley is basically my favorite fictional female character. I mean, come on, we're both redheads. Y'all know I've got to stick up for my fellow redheads. I adore these books. They're so cute and so heartwarming. And, they just inspired my love of reading. And Shirley is just such a wonderful character. And yeah, you need to pick this up and read it. It's just such a wonderful, wonderful book. So there's my I Never book tab. Thanks again to Elizabeth for tagging me. I'll link her channel down below. If you want to go check out her tag, y'all should subscribe to her and follow her and do all that fun stuff. And yeah, I'll be back with another video soon. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!